Let's go. Yes, let's go. Let's make this happen this morning. Welcome to the Champions Corner here at Southwest Florida Real Estate and Business Academy, our offsite location, because as we all know, this pandemic came and caused us all to shift, caused us all to reinvent ourselves, and just brought out the brilliance in each and every one of us. Hi guys, this is Lucy Quinones. And here we are on our 4th week of our virtual online digital learning for who? For all the realtors out there. I'm so excited to bring a wonderful topic to you guys today that I am hoping is going to ignite your potential, is going to stir you up, it's going to motivate you, and above and beyond everything else, it's going to give you great ideas that you can implement in a very practical way to elevating your business to the next level. So guys, today we will be here at 10 a.m. and again at 3 p.m. It's going to be a 2-part series as we talk about turning crisis into conquest in your real estate business. Yes. Why do I want to talk about this? Well, I want to take you back to 2008. I think that the culminating stories that we can all talk about right now are back in 2008 when the market crashed and so many of us did not know what to do. But having been through that experience now gives me and others that lived through that experience an opportunity to know that when the going gets tough, what do? The tough get going. So guys, today I want to give you some very practical tips, tactics, ideas, some innovation. It's going to be extremely informative. And above and beyond, I'm going to give you the how-tos, okay? Not just the know-how. So what do you mean by that, Lucy? Well, I can give you the information, I can give you the step-by-steps, but I want to show you not just the know-how, but the how-to. So I'm going to give you some actionable items that you can put into place right away so that you can turn this crisis into a conquest in this moment for your real estate business. So we're living in moments that everything is shifting, everything is uncertain. We're living in moments where we went from doing business one way to having to do business another way. But there are certain things that financial crisis after financial crisis, or recession after recession, or now the new word that we're all using, pandemic, and hopefully never again will we see a pandemic, are meant to work. Did you know that even in the worst of economical times, there are still people that not only maintain their business, but they scale their business? And how do they do that? Well, the first thing I want you to do, and get your pen and paper ready, wherever you're watching me from, and I want you to ask questions. If you have questions, I'm going to have my team here reading the questions to me, because we want to start making this very interactive. When I normally teach classes, and I've been teaching classes since 2013, I'm in my, safe zone. I'm in my territory. I'm in my classroom, and I interact with the people that are there, but I can't see you, yet you can see me. But you can still ask questions. So please, I invite you to start asking questions. Let me know where you're watching from. All questions are valid. All questions are good. And if you write the questions while we're live, I promise to answer them while we're live. So today is going to be a little bit more interactive, and I love being able to shift it a little bit and make it more exciting. So let's go ahead and start writing these notes. And you want to write these notes because we only retain 10% of what we hear. We retain 30% of what we hear and see. But we retain 50% of what we hear, see, and write. So I encourage you to write. Number one, first thing you got to know to turning crisis into a conquest in your real estate business is that fear is your worst financial counselor, advisor. Fear is your worst financial advisor. What do I mean by that? 6 weeks ago, when we were told we are in a pandemic and now we need to start planning to shut down, are we going to shut down? This state was shutting down, that state was shutting down. We all reached the point of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Oh my God, what am I going to do? And here's what happened. About 80% of real estate professionals, they stopped, they sat, and they're waiting. And that is the worst thing you can do. I remember that's what I did in 2008. I stopped, I sat and I waited. Because I thought that the market crash was going to be like maybe a month or two thing. Well, it ended up being many, many more years than that. And the worst part was that had I pushed forward, had I put the pedal to the metal in number one, education, number two, knowledge, number three, building my skills, and number four, connecting with people that knew what to do, learning from the people that knew how to scale, I would have been so much better off. So I want to remind you that if you're going to be turning this crisis into a conquest in your real estate business, okay, you need to surround yourself with a massive action plan and knowledge, education, building your skill sets, connecting with the people that know how to scale in these days and times. Actually, if you have some money set aside, hire a coach. We are not capable enough to coach ourselves, but it is so important that we remember that right now, fear is your worst advisor. So you want to reach out to people that have been there, that have done that. You want to reach out to people that are the voice. You want to reach out to people that are the messengers of today and the leaders of today. And you want to be humble and you want to say, hey, listen, can you help me? I have a couple of questions. As a matter of fact, that's why I decided to take this virtual, because I said, this is going to be for every agent out there, whether you watch it live, whether you watch the replay, whether you're local, national, international, it doesn't matter. I want to be able to help you think of a great idea, take an innovation, take a strategy. Let me ignite your thought process that maybe at least one tip, one tactic, one strategy can help you change the course of your business right now. Because let me tell you, the normal is never going to be the way the normal used to be. The normal will never be the way the normal used to be. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were telling me that, basically, what do we do? What do we all do right now? If you're still, active in your industry, you get up, you shower, you have your coffee, you get dressed, and you go into your area of work, wherever your work environment is. As a matter of fact, one of the main things you need to keep in mind, besides the fact that fear is your worst financial advisor, that's why you need to connect. That's why you need to educate. You need to develop knowledge, develop skills, and you need to connect with people that know how to thrive. But above and beyond that, the fact is that you need to have a place where you can work from. You need to have a set place that you go in there and you work from there. I'm telling you, I go into my home office, which I never visited. I was about to even take it down, move everything to my office, because I'm like, I never use my home office. I've always been indoctrinated and I've always been trained the old school way, you go to the office. Well, this person that I was speaking with said to me, I don't know that I'm ever going to go back to doing business the way I used to. Right now I'm doing listing presentations this person was telling me they were doing what I had taught about 2 weeks ago. I'm doing listing presentations virtually. I'm having all kinds of meetings virtually. I don't know that I'm ever going to go back to doing business the way that I used to. And you know what? So many people are saying that. And this is something that is resonating with so many different people, because now we were forced into a new normal, into a new way of business. So please, number one, remember, fear is your worst financial advisor. That's why you need to, let me say it again, educate, build and implement knowledge, develop your skill sets, and connect with coaches and mentors and leaders, with the voices of your community that are teaching the way, with the messengers that are bringing the right message. Now, when we talk about financial advising, or when we talk about financial counsel, I want to remind you and I want to share with you, and if you're hearing this for the first time, that's perfect, and if you're hearing it for the second or third time, that's even better. We got to take care of our mental economy first. There are 3 economies we have to take care of. So A, our mental economy. Right now you have to reverse engineer more than ever and go to the end and say, what is the purpose of what I'm going to do? And then go backwards and figure out how you're going to do it. Okay? So if you want to start working with more sellers and you have to do it virtually, What is the ultimate purpose you want to do? Remember, right now is the worst time for you to be telling the consumer, hey, I'm your cheerleader, call me, I answer my phone, I give customer service. No, there are other things that the sellers want to know. There's other things that the buyers want to know. So you want to reverse engineer, what is my message? What is the ultimate purpose of what I am going to put out there as far as content? How is this content going to add value? As a real estate professional, whether you're 5 minutes into real estate, yesterday I got a phone call from an agent that wants to come on board, and she just got her real estate license. I mean, think about it. When did we ever think that we were going to get our real estate license virtually? I spoke to her about 3 weeks ago, and yesterday she called me and said, I passed my exam, right? And it was done virtually. So now the state exams are being done virtually. Everybody is in the same boat, but guys, the good news is that it gives us an equal opportunity for all of us to scale. And I love that word scale because it has a power behind it, which, I mean, when I say scale, I literally see someone just grabbing on to those edges and those rocks and those cliffs and just pushing themselves up, because that's where we all are right now. So the first economy we have to fix is in our mind. Is that how you see yourself? Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you a quick question. And I want you to take a moment and think about it. If this whole time that we are in quarantine, if this whole time that we are in pandemic mode, if this whole time that we are in lockdown, shutdown mode, you are doing a movie about yourself. You are producing a movie about your life, about you, your business, your career. Let me ask you this question. How is that movie going to end? What is the ending of that movie? What does the end of that movie look like? Have you seen it? Can you visualize it? Can you articulate it? Can you specifically define what is the end of that movie? I'm going through this season of life. What does the end of that movie look like? This is so powerful. I can't teach you real estate without teaching you how to get the right perspectives in mind, because it's more than selling houses. You're dealing with humans. You are a human, and we're dealing with situations. How we choose to deal with our situations define everything. So what is your movie right now? If you had a movie that you were producing, that you were directing during this whole shutdown, lockdown, whatever you want to call it, quarantine, pandemic season, what does the end of that movie look like? Have you seen the end of that movie? And that's why I'm giving you these tips on the first economy that you have to fix is in your mind. Okay? There's a couple of things. When I talk about in your mind, it's how do you see the end of that movie going? It's time to go back to some of the basics that we have taken for granted. What is my business plan? What are the numbers for my business? What are my financials? How does my business... A lot of people right now, and let me give you some good news. If you're not closing deals, I'm going to give you some wisdom, some real estate wisdom from the years that I've been in this industry, and the mentorship and the coaching that I've had, and all the knowledge that I've been blessed to be able to acquire from others that know so much more than I. When you go on social media and you see all these people talking about their closing deals, and if you're new to real estate, or you just got in just before this whole thing hit, or let's say that you've been in real estate for a long, long time, but you just haven't been able to get out of that rut, get out of that, stale place that you found yourself in. Like, you got into a rut, you got into just a desert spot in your career, and now you go on social media and you see people saying, I'm closing, and we're closing, and we're closing. Guys, please remember this. Real estate is a 90-day cycle business. Everything in real estate is a 90-day cycle business. Lucy, what does that mean? What do you mean, Lucy, it's a 90-day cycle business? What people did in December and January, those prospects, those contacts, those leads, those buyers, those are closing now. Okay? January closes in April. So please remember that, a lot of people, and that's why I felt I needed to bring this topic today, because people can't get comfortable with the fact that they're closing because, guys, real estate is a 90-day cycle business. What you do in January will close in April. Okay? History has proven it. What you do in February closes in April. Between January and February, depending on the deal, the transaction, the terms, the conditions, etc., it closes somewhere around April. Okay? Yes, deals can close faster, but for the most part, okay, I'm giving you standards, I'm giving you, the norm. What you do in January will close sometime around March and April. So you see a lot of people mid-March, April, closings. Guys, don't get overly confident about that if you're one of the ones that are closing, because my question for you is, what have you been doing the month of March to generate more business? What have you been doing the month of April to generate new business? Because here's what happens. If when this thing hit, we stopped working or we just focused on working what was in the pipeline, well, guess what's happening to the pipeline? Guess what's happening to the pipeline? The pipeline is getting dry because real estate is a 90-day cycle. So you need to continue to stay focused on that economy in your mind, your contacts, getting yourself out there, pivoting, shifting, being present, all the other things that I've talked about this whole month. This is our 4th week. Unbelievable. Number 2, or B, I said A is take care of your mental economy. B, take care of your household economy. There's only 4 things that need to be high priority in our household. Everything else is expendable. Everything else is disposable. You don't need it. You don't need it. Number 1, the roof over your head. Well, actually, number 1, the food that you're going to eat. So you have to sit down and you have to reevaluate your business plan and make a plan for this season, for this moment. Okay? Food, shelter, okay? Food, shelter, transportation, and your utilities. You can't live without light and water. You can't live without food. You can't live without a roof over your head. You can't live without utilities, and you need transportation. That is what you need to budget for. Everything else, you need to start cutting back. You need to start cutting back. Even if you have the money, we don't know the long-term effects of this. Please don't make the mistake that I made in 2008. I was like, oh, probably next month this is going to be better. I remember having these conversations with my agents back then. I was so clueless. Oh, next month this will be better. Well, next month would come. Well, hopefully in the next 2 months this will be better. 2 months would come and go. Well, hopefully soon this will be better. I mean, it was like 2 years later before we even, knew that it had come to a stop, because it was constant downward motion. So don't be overly confident that, oh, I'm having closings, or that, this is going to pass. We don't know. We don't know. This blindsided us like that. Number B was take care of your household economy. I just gave you the 4 things you need to focus on. And C is take care of your business economy. And here we go. Turning crisis into a conquest in your real estate business. Did you know that besides listing and selling, okay, there are other strategies you can apply to your buying and selling customers? Or did you know there are other avenues within real estate? There are other services of real estate that you can get into that will help you sustain or scale during this crisis. There are things that you can do that will give you additional streams of income. So what are additional streams of income that you can use during a recession? What are the other streams of income that you can implement or start learning about or start looking into that will help you sustain or scale during a recession period? Well, first and foremost, it is a great time to go back to basics. First-time home buyers. First-time home buyers. We know that in many areas, including our own, there are tons and tons of tenants renting apartments. You need to put a strategy in place to reach out to those first-time home buyers. And why do I say first-time home buyers? Well, the savvy investor is probably not going to, make quick decisions right away. So that may take a little longer. Even if they want to sell, that's not going to be the majority of them. Some of them are not going to buy immediately because they're waiting for the economy to possibly tank or the prices to come down. I even had someone write to me on social media and say, when is the market gonna tank so I can buy some property? And I was like, good Lord, I hope that it never tanks. We don't want to go through that pain. But investors are watching a lot of different things, okay? Right now, we know that first-time home buyers is a phenomenal market to get into. So what are you doing to attract that first-time home buyer market? What are you putting out there? How are you leveraging your knowledge to attract that first-time home buyer market? Okay? Not everyone's going to go buy a vacation home. Not everyone's going to go sell their home right away. Not every investor is going to go buy more property right away. But the first-time home first-time home buyers are always a very steady, even keel market because they're renting. They're paying 100% interest. So why not help them to start getting back into that American dream of home ownership? That leads me to the second point, which is even a strategy that I'm launching. And you partner up with other realtors in the area. So for example, a rent-to-own program. So let me explain a little bit about that. We all are familiar with lease options. Well, what is a lease option? Basically, it's a lease where the person that's moving into the property, the tenant, puts a big lump sum of money down so that they can have the option of buying that property, within a certain amount of time, 12, 24, whatever months down the road. The problem with that is that not everyone has $10, $15, or $20,000 laying around to move into a property and then buy a home. And besides, if you had $10, $15, or $20,000, they probably go buy a house now because there's a lot of good programs out there. So lease options, they work, but they're not going to create a steady stream of income during a recession, during a moment like the one we're living. Then we have, some of you may remember, the lease with the right to purchase. A lease with the right to purchase. It was a big company, I'm not going to say any names, that when the market crashed created a hedge fund and they started acquiring tons and tons of homes. And what basically they would say is, hey, Mr. Tenant, Mr. Potential home buyer, you don't qualify for a property now because you just had a foreclosure, because you just went into short sale, you claimed bankruptcy. So here's what we're going to do. All these homes that we bought at dirt cheap prices, we're going to lease it back to you at a certain amount of money per month. And then we're going to give you the right to purchase it, within the next 4 to 5 years, within the next 3 to 5 years. Or as soon as you can, it doesn't matter. As soon as you can secure a loan, we will sell it to you. But that wasn't that good either. It was good, but it wasn't that good. Let me explain to you why. So the person moves into the property, at a certain base price that every year goes up. Okay? Well, that's better than not having the right to purchase, but at the end of the day, the rent is going to continue to go up about 3% per year. The part that I didn't like that much, and that I think was a little disadvantaged, but at the end of the day, it was the only way that this person per se could purchase a property, was that the price of the home was never set. It would also go up every year, about 5%. So this huge investor hedge fund, right, was making a 5% equity increase on the property. They had the tenant, they had the cash flow, the rent was going up, and the price of the home was going up. So that was another option, and if it worked for some, that's awesome. So that was called the lease with the right to purchase. But here's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a real, organic, grassroots, wholesome rent-to-own program. A rent-to-own program where you come in as the person that is going to facilitate. You're going to be the facilitator between the buyer, the homeowner, and everything else in between. Where you can take someone and you can advocate for that American dream that they want to accomplish, and then not only do you show them the path to follow, but you walk them through the process. Okay? And I'm speaking about that because that is what we're implementing now, And that is what we're going to be utilizing, not only to help our community, right, the buyers out there, but also to help the agent community, because now with the way that we are going to showcase it, we need referral partners. So there's a lot of power between the rent-to-own programs that you can go out there and learn more about. Now, there's another way that you can provide another or additional streams of income to your real estate business so that you can turn this crisis into a conquest in your bottom line dollar. And that is for you to start doing research. You can research properties that were purchased back in the market crash, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, take your pick, and then start reaching out to these investors. Start putting yourself in the arena of the investors that want to resell. But if I had to choose between the investors that want to resell and the first-time home buyers or the rent-to-own program, I know that I am going to be able to bring more value and more service when working with first-time home buyers and rent-to-own people, because they need my service. That's going to give me the leverage. Plus, it's going to give me fast quarters versus perhaps the investor is going to give me slow dollars. But that is completely up to you. This is going to be a 2-part series, so make sure you tune in at 3 p.m. Do we have any questions from anybody? No? Where is everybody? No questions, but you know what? Just write them as you watch this. The third one that I want to talk about real quick is creative financing. Listen, reach out to your lenders, reach out to your mortgage people and say, I want us to sit down and have a fire chat on creative financing. There are many different, resources. There are many ways to leverage the resource of financing that you can utilize it in a creative way. So you need to reach out to different lenders. I always had a mindset that went a little bit like this. After a really bad experience that I had when I had my team, I would put all my deals with one lender. Now, my lender friends, I love you all. I love you all. Nothing personal, but this is just my MO. This is my method of operating. And I remember back then I put all my deals into one lender because they were really nice. They really gave me great service. They were awesome. They were amazing. But unfortunately, one day, life kicked in. And this company, I don't recall exactly the details, but we were calling. And I had a team of 7 people when I had my team. And they were like, Lucy, they're not answering the phone. I'm trying to reach the processor. They're not responding. I'm trying to get a status update on my file, and nobody's reaching back to me. 3 days later, I went to my general manager at that time. This was around 2004. And I said, look, we have a problem. We've got 10 deals that are supposed to be closing this month with this lender. They don't answer the phone. They don't respond. No one's getting back to us. What do we do? So my manager back then said, let's get in the car. Let's go to the office. We show up at the office. It was on lockdown. Lights were out. No one was there. Door was closed. And I'm like, oh my goodness. That's all it took for me to learn. I never put all my eggs in one basket. So again, my disclosure, I love all my lender friends. I'll give you guys as much business as I can, but all my eggs will not go in the same basket because we don't control life. Unfortunately, this company went out of business. They had a whole partnership breakdown, and I had to move all my files to other lenders. And so that's just a little tidbit about an experience that I had that taught me a lifelong lesson. I don't put all my eggs in one basket. But creative financing, reach out to different lenders. The truth of the matter is there's mortgage brokers, there's loan officers, there's lending institutions, there's banks. So you want to have an array of how each one of them works, because it's like walking into the Chinese buffet, honestly. You ask one mortgage broker or one lender or one bank, do you do this program? But they all do it differently. So you want to have this kind of conversation. You want to say, can we talk about creative financing? What type of creative financing would you be able to offer my clients, right? And hopefully the mortgage broker knows enough to say, well, here's what we can do, here's what we've done in the past. And if they don't know, they have a manager that's been around forever as well, I'm sure. So they should look into that. So creative financing is just different ways that you can bring ideas to the table Keep the financing obviously all in line with the protocols and with management and with, everything that is required. But it's a different resource. It's a different way. It's a tactic that you can also utilize that to now go out and speak to the public. I'll give you a perfect example. I have a customer, and we're going to close out with this because it's 10:30. Remember to join me at 3 for the rest of this because it's going to get juicier. It's going to get better. But I'll close out with this. You all know that I have focused the last 12, 15 years of my life to running a company, building the company. I haven't really been in the field, though I have been in the field with my coaching and training, helping my agents, and I have not been until now a practicing broker. Now I am a practicing broker. So I get to practice real estate once again because I love it. I never did it just because I didn't want to, I was focused on doing other things within the organization. So now I have a customer, and the other day I have this conversation with a wonderful, wonderful lender that we're doing business with each other. And this lender gave my customer a USDA loan. And I asked, because I always like asking, and you need to ask as well. Hey, does this USDA program where the buyer gets to buy with 0%, no money? I mean, my buyer is bringing maybe like $500 to the closing table, and probably by the end of the deal, once all the exact numbers come in, they're going to buy with 0% down. So, I mean, this is like a wonderful, wonderful program. So it's USDA. So my question was, and you can ask your lenders, is, hey, does this USDA program work everywhere, Cape Coral, everywhere? And the lender said, no, unfortunately not. But if you give me some zip codes, I will tell you where it does work. Here is a phenomenal, phenomenal idea that you can implement with your lender for creative financing. So I'm giving you this as a how-to so you understand when I talk about creative financing what I mean. We got on the phone. It was about 7:45. We were chatting. We were talking about business and whatever. And I said, so tell me again where this USDA program is doable. And the lender explains it to me. And we go into looking up zip codes. And so the idea that came out of this conversation was I gave this lender the zip code, and the lender was like, yeah, we can do it in that area. Great area. I'm telling you, like, really, I know the area. Great area in Fort Myers. Great area. And we were like, man, more realtors should be asking their lenders, tell me about the different programs you have. And then take them and put it into a strategy. So here's the strategy. I'm going to share with you the strategy that me and my network are doing right now. We're doing a mailing to that area and letting them know if they or someone they know wants to purchase in that area. Because of course there may be tenants there. Of course there may be parents that have kids living at home that would like to buy a home. Of course there's relatives of other relatives that may want to buy in that area. Of course there's friends of friends of friends that want to buy in that area. So we sent out a mailing to invite that area, now that we know that it is doable for USDA. If you know someone, if you or someone you know would like to buy with no money down, contact us. Boom! Creative financing. Guess what happened? Results. That is what I love about the innovation and strategies that we need to implement. That's why today, guys, we're talking about turning crisis into conquest in real estate, and I hope that you take one of these tips, add them to your arsenal, and get out there and make it happen. I'll see you at 3.